Good morning, everybody. This is Doc T. We are at the SHARC Doc Talk. We have, of course, Dr. Justin Westbrook. I want to say Dr. J. I love
You
Dr.
haven't called
J.
me Dustin since I was an intern.
Justin Westbrook. It was Dr. J was supposed to be coming out.
Yeah.
And Dr. David Deonson. I got his last name right. I got his first name wrong this time. We'll get there.
Took up 3 years.
Yeah, I think get there. Better late than never, right? Yep. We're coming fresh off an early morning. These two gentlemen just came back from shout out to Fitness on Fire. They had a little High Rocks simulation. Yeah. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was good. Talked to a lot of the athletes, and they're working on certain things and certain aspects. Like I talked to one athlete, and her and her partner were really focused on one part of the race.
Sure.
And so they came in what they wanted to do, got done what they needed to do, and they feel pretty confident going into it. And I think it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
about
Nice.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's always fun. They invite us in to help out with the athletes and just be there in case something goes down and whatever. And it's just fun to watch because these guys are out there. They're balling, man. They're going for it.
Oh yeah, it's balls to the wall.
Yeah,
it might as well have been game day.
Yeah, they were definitely going for it. I know. I was talking to one of them. They said they cut like 30 minutes off their time, which is a big.
That's
30?
crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, somebody's sandbagging.
Yeah,
by
straight
30.
up.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was whether she got comfortable with the exercises and knew what was coming next, so cutting off all the small seconds there, and also just getting good at the exercises. But yeah, 30 minutes is a big deal in whatever time sport.
Yeah, cool. So I'm an old CrossFit guy, and we used to ridicule people who did pacing, right? And then you do these sims, and you go, no, pacing's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because what is this? What's the whole thing run time-wise? Like start to finish?
My athletes' goals are between like an hour 10, hour 20.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better pace yourself. That's a long time, under duress. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so again, thank you guys for bringing us out there and coming out. We brought coffee. We brought some Danishes. Apparently somebody took a whole box of
awesome.
Danishes.
It was great.
Yeah,
was like
finished the workout and just took the whole thing. It was
good
great.
for them, man. They earned it, that's for sure. So we're sitting here now caffeinated up and getting ready to do a little talk. We got basically today's topic conversation we're going to get into is the package deals that we're doing, why we're swinging to packages and longer visits, and really why it's beneficial for our clients and our patients to do it this way. And so it's always a tricky conversation because when you talk about going to see a chiropractor, 9 times out of 10, they're expecting, 5-10 minute visit, maybe some hot packs, E-stem, kind of stuff like that, the protocol, if you will. And for us, we're just more of we need time with you. We got to talk to you. We got to really get to know you. But I'm going to let these boys discuss how they do their thing, and then we'll get to me later. So, Justin, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. I love the package system, mainly because it's accountability on both sides. Mm-hmm. When we sit down for that first visit and we're trying to figure out like why you're in pain, like, right, you can have knee pain, but why is your knee in pain? And that's what we're trying to get down to in that first initial visit. When it comes to the full screening, we should have a pretty good idea, if not the idea, of how you move, what's causing the pain, and then from there, how are we going to fix it, and how long is that going to take? So for me, the big thing is accountability on both sides, where we do all the sessions up front, and you're committing to those 9, 12, 20, 30 sessions up front, and you're going to see that plan through. I know in the past that we've had issues with people getting about 70% better, and then they fall off. And then they come back a couple months later and like, yeah, I screwed it up again. And so that's the big thing that we're trying to avoid with this system.
I can speak. So part of the reason we're swinging this way, excuse me, what happens, what Justin just alluded to, the 70%, most patients will come in, they get out of pain, they think they're done. And what happens is, you guys know, I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, what's the number one cause of injury that we deal with? It's a recurring injury. It's the
chronic
re-injury of something that had been a problem from before. You got it kind of fixed, and then we didn't follow through. Mm-hmm. And so we land back in the office again 6 months later, and of course, as doctors are like frustrated banging your head because like, oh no, we got you in the right place, and we got cut off there. So swinging to a package, like Justin said, is very much about getting the accountability on both sides. Like doctors, we have a plan in mind, especially performance docs, right?
Yeah.
So let's see, David, go ahead and tell me what your thinking is on this.
What I like about packages is that we're just upfront about really what we're thinking here. I think the last thing I really want you to think is like, oh, we'll get it done in 2 visits, because realistically, like a 2-visit thing, yeah, you might feel good. You might feel good for like 3 days afterwards, but we didn't fix anything, right? If we talk about the natural history of any injury, it's probably going to be close to anywhere between like 3 to 4 weeks, up to 6. So really, if you space that out truly, that's close to 12 visits anyways. So because of that, we want to see that injury through, and we want to see you actually get through that faster and better with guidance. So the last thing I want you to do is think about one visit at a time, because you think you're saving money that way. But in reality, if you start to count it up, you're probably paying for 15 visits and we're not getting anywhere, because I don't know when you're coming in. You don't know when the next time you're coming in either. And we're just kind of playing this hodgepodge game of like, oh yeah, we're kind of everywhere, right? And then since you're not in all the time, or you're not in consistently, I should say, we don't know what's actually working versus what's not working. So.
And yeah, you bring up a good point. Mm-hmm. There's commitment on, like, just as there's accountability on both ends, there's commitment on both ends too. Mm-hmm. Like, you as a patient need to commit that you're willing to put in the work to actually fix your problem. Mm-hmm. And we are committing to you that obviously we're going to give you everything that we have and all of our knowledge and all of our resources to get you better. Mm-hmm. That we, in a way, want that reciprocated so that you don't get 70% better and then get hurt again a couple months later.
And for everyone out there to understand truly what we do, it's not just a pain thing, right? People come for pain, we treat the pain, of course. Yeah. But in our minds, if we can map out 12, 15, whatever visits with you, we know exactly kind of what we're going to do week to week to week, and we can really sit down and think that through. That also gives you a much better timeline and expectation. Mm-hmm. So, excuse me, you come in and you go, okay, I got this. I'm going to need 12 visits with you. We're going to do this 12 visit package. So the first couple weeks, I'll see you a couple times. Mm-hmm. We're going to get through the pain mitigation part. We're going to get you kind of back and feeling better and moving better. Then from there, the plan is to be able to restore you back into play. We call that. Go back to the gym. Go back to the 24-hour fitness you might work out at, or drawing blank on all the other gyms, F45, Orange Theory, whatever. Yeah. But to return you there so that you're able to participate at the capacity that you want to participate. Not where you're still trying to scale this or scale that or back away or don't do this. We want you to go in like full force. And in order to do that, we have to have a plan in place. That's why we do this. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're talking about. So, and then we'll have what David was alluding to. We'll have clients come in consistently 5 times over 3 weeks. Yeah. Like, I'm feeling pretty good. Cool. Here's the rehab. Let's get going on it so we can get you caught up. And you don't see them for 2.5, 3 weeks. And they come back in going, yeah, I kind of came back and kind of this. I wasn't sticking to my rehab. So it's accountability. I love that word. We probably overuse it, but it's that accountability of, look, you paid for this. We're committing ourselves to you. Get your butt in here and let's get this work done. So it's a great little thing. Now, let's do this. Just for everybody out there, and we can also clip this as part of what we do. Walk me through the discovery visit or discovery call. That's where we start in these discovery call to a discovery visit and so forth. What's a discovery call for?
For sure. Yeah, so a discovery call, you might call into us and you're like, hey, I want to make an appointment. Awesome. Perfect. But if we have like just 10 minutes of your time, 10, 15 minutes of your time, just to take a little bit of a look at what it is you're coming in for, right? We're going to ask you what's wrong anyways. Let's start to peel that back a little bit. Like what's your pain? What does it hurt doing? What makes it feel good? What does it not allow you to do? That's the big thing, right? And then we start to kind of ask why that's important and start to peel back those layers just so we have a better idea when we go into that discovery visit about what it is you're dealing with. That way, when you come in for your discovery visit, now we can tie up any loose ends that we didn't quite get to on the phone. And then we can treat you. We can put you through like a really quick functional movement assessment, see how you move, a little bit of range of motion, treat you, see how you do. And then from then we can kind of map out what the next steps look like, where you go to that initial evaluation that's 90 minutes long, very comprehensive, and then we go from there.
So with a discovery call, the goal really is to make sure that you are a right fit for us and we're a right fit for you.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. We're trying to make sure we can help you, make sure we understand, because some people would come to me and say, I might have torn a meniscus. Like, I might be able to help that. Maybe you need ortho. Maybe you need imaging. We're not sure, but that call will help us weed through that. And then we get into a discovery visit where we actually do kind of the same thing, but we dig a little deeper. And then we get to, David, what's initial exam look like for you?
Yeah, an initial exam looks like, to me, it's It bleeds a little bit from the discovery visit as well. Really, to backtrack just a tad, everything does tie together, so it's not just 3 completely unrelated visits here. It's an actually very comprehensive thing to fully understand. Justin went into talking about having like functional movement screens and also just orthopedic exams and everything like that. That's a part of this all. We want to see what your goals are as well, and then we will do some treatment as well, and we'll see if any of that is effective even before we talk about getting into like a package and seeing if this will be of benefit to you as well. So you get a smaller taste, or actually I should say a bigger taste of how this will look like for your longer term care, and then from that point, really that's where I start mapping out like, will this be a short term, maybe like a 9-visit type of thing, or if it's something pretty big, like you want to train for a high rocks and you're dealing with knee pain plus back pain and whatever else you want to throw on there, because you could have as many injuries as you want.
There's no limitation.
There's no limitation. Maybe it could be a 20-visit type of thing. But we want to be able to really tailor make something for you off of those discovery calls, based off all that information that we gathered through the calls, through the visits, and really just through our assessments as well, and give you what we think is the best plan of attack.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, because when you go to a medical office, here's your pills, here's your shot, here's your whatever, see you later, and come back in 6 months, 3 months for follow-up. Mm-hmm. You go to a PT clinic, which is what we run ourselves like, that's usually when you're post-surgical, things like that. What our real goal is just, most of our patients are weekend warriors, athletes, what have you. We love to have a free discovery call with you so we can just talk on the phone, 10, 15 minutes. Let's get to know you. You get to know me. Let's see if we're compatible in what we're trying to accomplish here goal-wise. The visit then is to see you in person, to actually kind of watch you move a little bit, as David and Justin both said, dig deeper on that call base, and then we line you up for that initial exam. That means you're ready to commit. Let's at least get a visit in. You can see and feel and understand everything we do. We treat you. You walk away, and then you can see from there. And then we get into how we're going to figure this plan out. It's a plan of care, as we like to call it. And then that package is really based on our experience. So we could have a sprained ankle. I might need you 9 times. I might have a blown knee or back or both. Might need you 20 times. But also the goal is not just getting you out of pain, that's 60, 70%. We're trying to get you to 100. So we're trying to get rid of the knee pain completely, get rid of the back pain completely. Then on the back end of those visits, actually really start to harden you up and make you a solid moving individual, so these issues aren't a problem again.
Yeah.
So that's the process we go through. And it's great for us as doctors. I can't reiterate this enough, just because we get to plan ahead. Yeah. There's nothing worse than somebody coming in going, can you look at my golf swing today? Sure. This is out of left field. Aren't you playing tennis? Yeah, but I want to see my golf swing. We have to plan ahead for this. This is not something we can just, drop of a hat and do. So it's an interesting way to look at it and deal with it, but it's something that we're just very passionate about and something that makes us happy. Mm-hmm. So it's been a nice transition. Challenging, but nice.
Yeah. Like, also in a weird way, if you think about it, if we're able to plan out everything ahead of time, it actually saves you time on your visits as well. So instead of just us guessing about like, oh yeah, this will work, we'll try this week. If he comes in this week, X, Y, and Z, we do that. If we're accountable with the times that you're coming in, we can fully assess everything, and we don't have to guess anything at this point. We know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. We talked about, the patient. So I had one years ago, and they went to their in-network doctor, and they had X amount of visits, but they had a $25 or $30 copay. And they went there, I think it was like 12 or 13 times. So the copay was, almost upwards of $300 or $400 I had to pay. And they came back and see me, and it was unfortunate because it didn't work. And they came back to see me and said, okay, let's try it. And this was, like I said, years ago. So that $400 is going to get you like 4 or 5 visits with me. By the 3rd visit, their pain was gone. By the 4th visit, they're already moving better. So they basically they spent the same amount of money, but they actually got better.
Yeah.
And that's always going. It's not that I was better. It's just that my attentiveness on your goals is what we're focused on. And that's all we care about. Mm-hmm. So if you say to me, you come in and you got 15 pounds you want to lose and you want to run a marathon in under 3 hours, that's a lofty goal, but we'll get you there.
Yep.
That's all it is. And now I know your goals. I know where you're headed. I know it means something to you. Now I'm going to challenge you and push you, but I can plan that out over the course of 6 months, a year, whatever it is that we have. Yeah. So
I like what you brought up with they have like 25 or whatever approved visits, and you're using all of that anyways. You're going to see that provider in network 25 times anyways. But oftentimes if you're doing that, it's very sporadic. As in like, oh, you're going to go in when you're hurting. What if, theoretically, if we did this, we had 12 to 25 very intentional sessions rather than 25 kind of occasional, I don't know, sessions?
Yeah. 100%.
How much can we get out of that?
I mean, the bottom line is this. When you pay for something, like out of your own pocket, right? I'm paying cash for this. you are now more committed to this process. And the only way we're going to get you better, the only way, is if you're committed. I mean, it's a pain in the butt. It's hard work. This is like, we've had a ton of patients that are very complex. We call them the zebras, but they're very complex. They're not simple fixes. But if we have the time and the energy and they're compelled to want to get better too, that's that discovery call for us. We're trying to find out. If you really want to get better or you just have some pain, you want to get out of pain. And if you want to just get out of pain, then that's fine. We can see you once or twice. That's fine. We'll charge you a little more, of course, because, we're not going to have a plan of care for you because we're only trying to treat a couple things and you just want to get out the door. But our biggest goal is getting you in there and let's fix you and making you want to be fixed. I know it sounds crazy. I'm an old dog learning new tricks. But today it's like, we have a lot of situations where people kind of want that quick fix thing. And the body is just not like that, And it's funny. There's one commercial I have to bring up. I love this commercial. I haven't seen it in years, but I thought it was great. It was a likening how quickly this product works. And so it had a gentleman at the end of a pool who was, probably 150 pounds or so overweight, looked like holiday season just got him good. He jumps in the pool. He swims 25 yards towards the camera. He gets out, and he has a shredded six-pack model.
Oh, I wish that's how it worked.
And I just thought that is because that's what our society today is. It's very much like Amazon, if it can't get here by today, why? Wait, Monday? I have to wait Saturday. I got to wait till Monday? This is crazy. And not really that hard work that get you and have to put in to get you where you want to go. And that's that accountability thing. We overuse that word. We got to find a thesaurus.
I don't know. Fall in love with the process. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. And there's a saying I love. Getting to the gym at 5 a.m. is painful. It hurts. It's hard. Not going to the gym, being unhealthy and feeling like crap is hard. The question is, choose your hard. And I love that statement. It's the best thing I've ever heard because there's always two options: to do something good for yourself or to not. Both decisions are difficult, the way you're going to feel and move and whatever, good like that, whatever. But that choice is that thing that all of us in here, like this morning, I got up 5 o'clock in the morning to go work out because I had this and some other stuff to do. That wasn't easy. I did not want to get up. But not getting up, I would have felt worse as the day went on. I would have kept thinking, why didn't I get my butt out of bed? That extra 45 minutes, hours of sleep, that's not going to do anything for me. But getting to the gym, now I feel better. Now my day's going, right? So that's a great one is when you think about things like that, paying for something like that, out-of-pocket cash, that's hard to do for sure. Being in pain, not doing what you love, that's hard. It's a matter of which one you want to choose, And taking the Advil and just getting rid of that pain, here's why this is bad. Like I don't know how we got here, but we're going to jump on this one right now.
You brought it up.
I bring everything up, right? So when you take Advil, get epidurals, get pain med shots, or whatever you do to mitigate pain. Now, trust me, there are some situations with pain so bad you can't exist, can't sleep, can't work, can't think, can't walk. That's a different scenario. But the nagging stuff, get out of bed, back's tight, stiff, little pain, try to stand up straight, whatever. You start popping Advil or any pain med. The problem lies in this. When you hide the pain from yourself, the things that you would normally do that cause you pain don't cause you pain anymore. So now you do them. And the problems that's creating, which we're trying to fix, that makes that problem even more complicated. And the body will bend really far, actually, before it breaks.
Yeah.
However, when it breaks, if it's set up like that, it's a big break. These aren't minor things like I got, my shoulder hurts when I lift overhead, hurts to pick up my kids. This is things like I'm going to have surgery. Yeah. I can't feel my foot. My hand's completely numb. Like these are very serious situations that can be mitigated if they're taken care of in the beginning. So the best hint for anybody out there who's like, well, how would you know? Stiffness and tightness is your body telling you something's wrong. It's the engine light popping on your car. Doesn't tell you what's wrong, just something is wrong. And so that's when you need to be taken care of, right? Yeah. And so that's what we're after with this. What we're trying to say to you is pain mitigation is good if you can't sleep and function and so forth and exist as a human. But if you don't address that problem then, and you wait, right, and you go to your in-network provider, which only in-network providers give you the baseline of care. That's the point of it all. We're specializing. Yeah. We're doing something above and beyond you'll find anywhere in a managed care situation, in network basically. And so we're trying to make sure you don't end up in a bad situation. Yeah, if you think it sucks to take 4 weeks off from golf or tennis or baseball or lifting because social, emotional, just all the parts that go with that, try blowing out your back, having back surgery, and being down for 6 months. Yeah. That's no picnic, man. Yeah. So that's personal experience, but also patience over life. Just, it's not good.
6 months? I didn't know it was 6 months.
Oh, dude. I was petrified. I couldn't feel my foot. I couldn't feel my leg.
I think that's a fun way to jump into here. Like when we talk about taking care of it right away, you've had your own fair share of injuries here.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about that one.
How much time do we got?
That might be a whole episode.
That's a whole episode. So if you know Doc T himself, he is one of you guys, and really what we say, one of us. If you want to go through the chants here, like he will. Well, at least before he would do a bunch of crazy crap in terms of workouts, and push his body to the absolute limits. But when he actually blew out a disc, right? When we talk about that, what were you doing?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, let me preface.
Nothing or something cool, surely, right?
Oh, it was amazingly cool.
Okay.
Let me preface this. So I had gone through all kinds of training, CrossFit training, Olympic lift training, sports, you name it. Anything I give my patients or we talk about in here, I've done, I've tried, because I don't understand why I would tell somebody to do something I've tried. So bottom line was, I was feeling pretty good. Back stiffness, tightness, things like that through my life, sure. I was sitting on the floor. I was literally sitting Indian style. I had a drill. I was drilling a screw in for my daughter's crib. That's it. Actually, it was for my son. I just painted it from pink to blue for my son. No. I just went from blue to pink. It was for my daughter. Yeah. I just went from blue to pink for my daughter. I was drilling in a screw. I extended my right leg, and I felt like somebody took a sledgehammer to the small of my back. Just drilled me. Now, when you're a doctor of the spine, you know all of the things that are going to happen, and that's not fun either. So I stood up, couldn't straighten my leg. Pain was the worst. I've never had pain like this in my entire life. Couldn't straighten my leg at all. Couldn't pull my foot up at all. My whole right leg went numb. Put weight on my foot, it gave out, and then from there it just went downhill.
And you're like, uh-oh.
Oh, I knew everything was going on. This was bad.
Yeah.
4 days later, I had surgery. And so those are those situations where I had hints for years that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
But because it wasn't bad enough, and I'm not the brightest guy out there sometimes, especially back in my 20s and 30s, I just kind of ignored it. And then next thing you know, I got half a calf. I can't feel the bottom of my foot. Lost about 1.5 inches of my quad. I'm still squatting and deadlifting. That wasn't the problem. It was how I did it, the ways I did it. And I didn't take care of the little things. I mean, David here, Dr. Downson, has a similar issue with his low back. And the first question, because we're kind of smartasses here, you doing your bridges, doing your clams? No.
Classic.
Guess what we saw the next day when we came in the office?
I was hunched over for sure. And this is when Justin was still an intern here. And I looked at Justin and was like, yeah, yo, I need help. I got a patient right now. Well, I had a patient like 2 hours or something like that. Funny enough, when it happened, I tried to roll out of bed, and my body said, no, that's not happening today. So that's when I started to do the bridges and clams, right? Or like some basic stuff as well. I forgot all the other things. I was just freaking out, trying to get to work. Was able to stand up, was able to brush my teeth and everything like that. And I sat in the car to drive over, and I couldn't get out of the car. So I barely made it over. And
when they say you can't get out, I mean, you're falling out of the car.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to crawl. I mean, this is not a... It's not a joke situation. We make jokes and have fun because it's in the past now, so we can. Yeah. But at the time,
it's scary.
It's There's nothing worse than debilitating pain. Not like it hurts to touch my toes or hurts to look behind me, but I physically can't move, or I'm gonna just break into tears and pass out.
Yeah.
And it's just brutal. So. That's why. I've also stress fractured my own pelvis. My wife loves that one. Yeah. I came back from imaging center, and a doc that was there, a good friend of mine who's passed, I miss you, buddy. He kind of yelled at me. He's like, what have you been doing? And I walked him through my workout. And he's, why? I told him, because I'm training for this event. He said, how long has it been going on? I said, like 4 or 5 months. He's like, what have you been doing? I said, I'm treating myself. Well, yeah. So now you have a stress fracture through your pelvis. And I kid you not, I looked him dead in the face, and I said, so take a week off or so? And he looks at me and goes, if you want your femur, that's your thigh bone, to shoot through your pelvis into your rib cage, yeah, just take a week off and then go back to it. Yeah, if you want to not do that, I would take a little longer. And so it was quite an eye-opener, and my poor wife just shook her head at me and said, you're just done. You're done with this. Yeah, so it was partly I want to be a happy married man, and also I'm tired of breaking things on my own body. So that's motivational, to say the least. Yes.
All of this to say, this is one of the reasons why we have that discovery visit too, because when you talk about tightness and talk about pain, oftentimes you think you could work through it, which is true to an extent, but we also want to make sure it's not gonna be that, or
Good point.
my case, or in any of Justin's lifting experiences or just sports experiences too. We don't want that to happen to you. So when we think about 20 visits, when we think about 15 visits, it's not necessarily just that time frame. We're actually thinking about you for the rest of your life here. So when we talk about getting your oil changed in your car, you consistently do that, but you could always get another car. You can't get another body. So
You got one.
we want to make sure that's okay. So that way, when you're like 80 or something, you can still pick up your child. Or not the child, the grandkid. Child would be sick.
That would be interesting.
That'd be
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's a great point on the discovery call.
Mm-hmm.
If you would ask me today, Doc T, would you drop $2,500 to work with someone for 15 visits, 20 visits, whatever, and not have had that back blowout? I couldn't pay. I couldn't do it fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
When I say this was horrible, anybody that knows me or seen me in the office, I like to wear shorts. My wife doesn't like that I wear shorts because I'm a 50-year-old doctor who wears shorts.
and no calf.
And no calf. I have half a calf. So if you see my calves, you like start laughing. Like, I have half a calf. Can't feel my foot. So this is stuff that bums me out because certain things I can't do anymore that I love to do. But if you'd have told me that, heck yeah. And that's how we look at each patient. It may not seem bad today. It may not present badly today. But you don't want to get to the point, or what we call that, Justin?
Crisis.
Crisis patient. I was a crisis patient. I was calling every favor into every person and every doctor and spinal doc I know in Southern California, not just Orange County. I ended up in LA to have surgery 4 days later with the doc. He's the only one who could get me in. And every one of them understood, but there's just, you go get surgery 4 days after something happens. That doesn't happen often. So, yeah, believe me when I say happily. I would have paid any one of these fellows to make sure it didn't happen.
For sure.
It's always a great point. Yeah. We're just always future planning with you guys, especially with these discovery calls and these plans of care. So when you say that we just want your money, no, we really just care about you guys.
Yeah,
That's
we
what it
have to
is.
get paid. It's just we have student loans and families, and we got stuff to pay for sure. But what it is we're so confident in what we can do for you that we have no problem committing to our time and your time. I mean, it's not a problem at all. And we know the outcome. We know what it's going to look like. We're there to hold your hand the entire way and really just help you.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you see our facility, which is awesome, we should shoot a video, just kind of facility.
Really fun.
We have so many toys out there that help correct whatever's going on with you. It may be simple, maybe complicated, we don't know, but oh man, it's our passion project for sure. For sure.
You sure? Anything to add here, Justin?
No, I mean, everything that's been brought up has been a great point. I mean, bottom line is that we want to figure out why, the why behind your pain. Not like, and honestly, not even just the why. It's like, why, like your knee hurts. Why is it important to you now that you get it fixed? Because if you don't get it fixed, what does that mean? And we, just as we've been through all of our injuries, and like Doc T said, like if you would have presented me the option to pay $2,500 and I don't have to have back surgery, like, yeah, can't sign.
Where do I
fast
sign?
enough.
Yeah, where do I sign?
Yeah, done. I'll make it work. It doesn't even matter if it's $2,500. It was $5,000. I'll make it work, right? It's something that like not always everyone isn't always ready to solve the why behind their pain.
True.
But once you are ready, you gotta commit.
Yeah,
For sure.
And that why part is funniest part is the why is what we do. Like the culture of our clinic is answering those why questions. And I'll give you an example when he was talking about, and this is how funny it is. This is almost how simple it can be. Like moms and dads out there, I am a pro at helping moms and dads post baby, few months, making sure they do certain things to not get injured. And I have a handful of new moms and dads right now. One in particular was in my office yesterday, and he has a nagging back pain. Now he's 34, 35. He's a big guy, lifted his whole life, very active guy, never really had problems. Has a little, I think she's 11 months old now. And she's a little tigress, man. She's up and about, moving, and just busy little girl. And so his back's starting to bug him. And I was explaining to him that even though he's training, and he trains well, and he does good stuff, he's missing something. And he goes, well, what do you mean? So when he lies on his back, he puts his right foot down to turn over to the left shoulder. He feels the back pain. So I put him on his back. And this is literally what we're doing right here. I want you to squeeze your tummy as tight as you can. Get your core engaged. Just tighten it up. Okay, tight. Now roll over. Okay, how's the pain? There wasn't any. You're not injured. Most people are not injured. Most people just have a movement problem, or worst case scenario, they have a tissue problem that we can work out pretty quickly, but it's something mixed in with that movement pattern. And the fact that he was looking at me like, how did you just do that? I'm like, I didn't. Your just core isn't working. Now, I make it seem simple, but the training is what we're going to do with him now. So he comes back in next week, and we'll actually go through core exercises. I know it sounds funny to say, do your core work, beach season. But it's actually the function of. So core, I don't know how we got to core, but why not go on this tangent? It sounds like fun.
That's on you.
So it's one of those things where it's not just that you can engage it, right? If I have a 150-pound tire on my son or my daughter, I'm going to engage my core, but I'm going to lift that sucker fast, get it off of them by the nature of the weight. It makes me think. But most people don't think about that when they drop their keys. They pick their keys up, and usually it looks horrible. And so he has a new daughter. He's a big, strong guy. So when he goes to pick her up, her little 30-pound, 25-pound frame, he doesn't think, engage my core and lift. Mm-hmm. So for him, it's not about just training the core. It's training in real-life situations, teaching him how to turn that on without him having to think about it, which is what your core is supposed to do anyway. Yeah. So that's just a quick case study, so to speak, but that just happened yesterday, and that was kind of one of those funny moments I just thought of when you were talking about this. It's just one of those things. And so you could have, a sprained meniscus, you could have sprained ligament in your back, you could have a muscle in spasm, you could have a little pissed off, vertebra, whatever. But those tightnesses and those stiffnesses and those little achinnesses are always leading us to a different path you don't want to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if we take a bigger look at it too, like you said, he's new dad, right?
Yep.
So he's going to be underslept. And if you talk to any athlete, especially the high professional, top level athletes, if they're underslept, they are more likely to get injured. Now, why don't we think about that with new dads, new parents, or anything like that? So that's also why we have longer visits, so we can dive into that as well. Because if you're not sleeping a decent amount at night for you, right, you're going to feel some stuff.
Yeah, you're going to be high stress. You haven't recovered. Mm-hmm. You haven't healed, right? So if you think yourself normally with no pain, no issues, you just feel normal. You have a new baby. First couple months are rough, although there's always that one parent that my baby slept through the night, day one. Yeah, good for you. That's not how it works for everybody else. But you have these things where we have to look at not just what you're coming to our office with, right? Mm-hmm. We have to understand all the variables of your life, your work, your work-life balance, what life is like at home. This same gentleman, his poor wife, she's like the zebra of all zebras out there. She somehow got a bursitis in her knee. And because of that, and they live in a house with stairs, she couldn't go up and down to help out as much. So he was also going to work, taking care of the baby, kind of helping her out a lot, like most of it. And he's stressed as well, not sleeping, stressed about the wife being injured too. So you start compounding all of these things. And as humans go, we don't tend to think of those things. We just keep going, especially the clientele that we work with. And I told you my story. I didn't stop. These guys don't stop. No. It's how we're wired. Now, I can either try to change you, which never works, or I can help you adapt and talk it out. Let's discuss the problems we're having. Let's discuss these variables. What of these variables can we control? How you move, we can control that. The way you move, the things you do, we can control that. The baby crying at 2 a.m., can't control that. You having to go up downstairs, can't control that. You forgetting downstairs what you needed while you're upstairs and having to go back downstairs and come back upstairs again, can't control that.
It's me this morning.
Right? So it's one of those things where our job isn't just to fix your pain. Our job is to help you as a human function and move better as a human in the variables that we can control. Yeah. Any add that, guys, or I just hit that out of the park?
Yeah, I mean, credit to this patient for coming in while it was just a little bit of pain and stiffness, because in the extreme case, right, he could have ended up like you.
Oh, God. Believe me when I say, when my back went out, I literally was not having any pain. It's general stiffness, but that mostly could be attributed to work and sitting in life and, two new kids and another one on the way kind of situation. But yeah, it was out of the blue for the most part. If I look back hindsight as, knowing what I know, yeah, there were signs. But to go that extreme that fast, that's not something usually these things take time. This was like the gross analogy, but a pimple popped, my disc blew out, it closed up. Funny side note, when the surgery was 4 days later, my disc was already scarring over. So it's already healing itself. Now the chunk of disc that was the size of a ping pong ball was sitting on my nerve root still. So that took the doc an hour and 20 minutes to get off. That was fun. Whew, yeah, they put me in a coma to get that sucker out. But anyways, yeah, so we want to avoid those things with the patient. So this gentleman, we're on the path with him to help him, so this is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the point that we want to drive home here is that you don't drift into a crisis situation like what Doc T experienced, or you drift into a situation like that. You don't just all of a sudden one day your back blows out. Well, kind of it does, but it's a multitude of or an accumulation of things that happen over time that lead to that end result. And again, credit to this patient for getting it figured out now.
These things we call them alley-oop injuries.
Yep.
So it's not that this is like a general trauma injury, car accident.
That's different.
We had one patient got kicked in the shin and broke his shin during a soccer event. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. There's, I mean, I and ironically, his son years ago, I worked with him as a doctor and worked on nutrition with him. We got him to drop 40 pounds, looked amazing, was playing great, playing pickup across with a buddy of his, group friends. He jumped up to intercept the ball, landed, popped his ACL. You know, and it's one of those things you're going, there was a setup there, but that was also a traumatic event. That was just sometimes just bad luck.
Yeah.
You know, not knuckleheads like me who keep on squatting even though I can't walk. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, that feels great. So land our plane on this one. Basically, the shift is because we want to have time with patients. We want to get to know you better, understand the variables of your life, and be able to put a plan of care in motion that you can understand, you can follow, we can follow, and keeps us all on task. The accountability, we got to get to the source. We'll figure out accountability and other words for it. But the accountability part is just the biggest part. You know, you buy that new phone, guess what? You're going to take care of that phone. You're not going to let it fall on the floor. You're going to get a case, you're going to get a cover, you're going to take care of it. Same thing. This is your body. Now, funny thing is, I did this the other day talking about how this is your only body. I was reading a great book that brought that up. It's interesting. I'm 50. So by the time I'm 65, we'll be on iPhone 31. I'll still have my same body. This won't change. But 31 iPhones in my lifetime. That's $1,000 to $1,500 per phone. That's $31,000. A lot of us out there will have spent on a phone, but not our bodies. And that was like the most, I never thought about that way. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. First of all, on a phone over the course of 15, 20 years. But wow, if you think about that, and your body's the only one you get. The phone, you get a new one. Yeah. Although I do know if you get the insurance on it, all you get is a refurbished one, not a new one.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. They refurbish phones and they kick them back out, and here you go. I think it's in the contract. You know, that really small writing you can't read. Somewhere in there.
Or don't read.
I can't read it.
Yeah.
I have bad eyes.
I just buy it.
I know. Well, yeah, right? So anyway, that's why we shifted this way. We love what we're doing with this. So that's kind of how we work with everybody out there. So anybody watching this for the first time, want to know what we're talking about, just hit the description or link in the description there. Get a discovery call. Sit down, 15 minutes, talk with a doctor. It's the best 15 minutes you'll have because at least you'll get some answers to something that you're trying to Google right now. And the Google machine is only as good as your questions. And we have better questions. That's going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. SHARC Doc Talk. I think it's episode 4 or 5. We're going to mark these.
It might be like 5. I'm still editing a couple. But
Yeah, we're having fun with this. Yeah. If you guys ever have any questions, please feel free to send us questions in the description down there. Shoot us a text, email, whatever the number. We're happy to answer it. And believe me, we could sit here and talk for hours about things. So if you have a question about something you want to hear about, let us know. We'll talk about it. I'm Doc T.
Doc David.
Dr. J.
See you guys next time.